Hello folks, in this guide we will be covering the best gear to be acquired within the Zaton zone. I'll basically be giving you all of the best options available, and then I'll go through the most efficient way of working through them all. The main gear we will acquire is the following: the PSZ Hawk Armor, the PSZ Convoy Armor, the PSZ Guardian of Freedom Armor, and the PSZ Universal Protections Armor, as well as the SSP-99 Ecologist Armor, the Marauder Armor, the Armored Bandit Jacket, and up to 4 sets of the Sunrise Armor. The unique Predator Shotgun, the unique SOFMOD and Flustercuck Assault Rifles, the RPM-74 Light Machine Gun, the FORA 221, the GP-37, the Saiga Shotgun, as well as the VSD and VS Vintar Sniper Rifles, 2 Opticians Gasmasks, 1 Hilka Detector, as well as 1 Arch Artifact being Weird Water, as well as all of the other artifacts, every blueprint and attachment within the zone, as well as a handful of additional weapons and supplies along the way. There are a few side notes before we get into this. First and foremost, I've ran this entire route parallel with the main story, so this full guide can be followed whilst progressing for any faction's main quest line. The only main differences between main quest allegiance is Wardens will be permitted access to the Icarus hub. This is under Warden control. There are a couple of side quests only available for those allianced with the Ward. There is also the Convoy armor set and SSP-99 Ecologist armor set within this hub that is inaccessible to those outside of this quest line, as they are locked behind quest progression. The SSP-99 Ecologist Armor is not a free reward. It comes with built-in C protections and will require a side quest to be completed and purchasing for 40k coupons. I will share more details when we come to this point in the guide. Parallel to this, those on the Stalker main quest line will gain access to a facility that does have an RNBW 2 times scope within it. Aside from these slight differences, the experience within Zaton will more or less be the same. Zaton is the biggest region within Stalker 2. It's basically the size of the Lesser Zone, Garbage, and the Chemical Plant combined. I tried to trim off unnecessary areas, but due to the locations of either very useful and or unique gear, we practically visit every location within this zone anyway, meaning we are covering pretty much everything. There are a total of 5 individual routes. The first starts from the north and the other 4 start from either of the twin hubs of this zone, which are the derelict ships, the Shevchenko and the Sultans. I've done my best to spoil as little as possible. I'll simply be telling you where to go and where the good stuff is. If it wasn't obvious, this guide is absolutely rammed, and I suspect it will be the biggest and most compact gear guide I make for Stalker 2, so do strap yourself in and let's get started. Our journey starts from the north, where we will all enter Zaton for the first time. Our first location is this facility marked here on the map. First, we want to head towards this stack of concrete, use this to gain access to the nearby structure, and then begin following the same route on screen. At the top of this ladder is a stash, and we can also look around to find the code for a nearby lock. Once done, head down and towards the southwest side of the facility. Here we will find this locked room with the PSZ Hawk Armor inside. Next, head just over the way to find this building right here. Head inside and navigate around into this room. We can find a unique assault rifle, the SOFMOD, right here. Next, we want to head south towards this facility right here on the map. Once here, head inside this warehouse building. Jump onto the shelves and use them to navigate over to the blocked off section at the back of the warehouse. Here you'll find a protective coating blueprint for the Sever 5 suit. Next, head over to the main building of this facility. Here we can begin scanning for an artifact. Once retrieved, head upstairs onto the walkway and navigate through the anomalies to find this stash containing 2 Opticians Gasmasks. After this, if running the Ward main quest line, then I do suggest visiting this location right here and wrapping up on the main quest. For the sake of the Convoy armor, we will cover it right now. Anyone else, feel free to skip forward to this timestamp. The Convoy armor can be located at the top of this tower. First, we need to progress the main story here. Once given the objectives scattered around the facility, the door at the base of the tower will now be open. Simply make your way up to the very top and activate the quest objective.
I'm not telling anyone. And you don't tell anyone.
Once done, carefully drop down to the ledge on the opposite side to find a convoy armor and a stash sitting right here. When making your way down the tower, be very careful at this specific ladder, as personally I tend to walk before turning and this drop will kill you. It is advised to progress this questline until being tasked with investigating the Echo facility, at which point come back to this guide to continue. As a side note, the main story will later on suggest you acquire a sea-resistant suit before progressing out of Zaton entirely. Once you are given Echo Station as your next main quest objective, there is a side quest that becomes available within Camp Icarus. Speak with the technician to receive it. If you do complete this side quest, then the technician will sell you an SSP-99 Ecologist suit with built-in sea protections. I will bring this up later on in the guide once it does become available for purchase. For anyone who does want this suit, I'd advise completing this side quest now before continuing with the guide. Our next location is marked just here on the map. First, we can locate an artifact here with our scanner. Next, head over to the stage at the back of the settlement. There's nothing inside of this vault, and opening it will initiate combat. Head around the back of the stage and drop inside to find a Predator shotgun right here. Our next location is within this region of the map. For anyone following the Stalker questline, this will be where we want to progress our quest. Regardless of allegiance, it is advised to descend into the pit and make your way through. On the other side of the pit, you will come out at this exit. Here we can scan and locate an additional artifact. Next, we want to head a little bit east towards these rocks. From here, we can use this large rock to enter this small cave system. On the other end of the cave, we can find a FORA 221 beside this stash. Our next location is just a little bit southeast, right here on the map. Here we can find this cave entrance. Enter and begin locating another artifact. Once done, we can also find this GP37 next to this corpse at the back of the cave system. Our next location is the Sultan, marked right here on the map. We will want to offload all of this gear and prepare ourselves to head back out. Whilst here, we should speak to the bartender and accept the side quest. Next, speak with the Sultan to progress this. This is all we need to do for now. Our first route will cover the north of the map. I do recommend leaving the Sultanks between 5 PM and 6 PM, maybe a little bit earlier, as our second location will be the Weird Water artifact, and it can only be acquired gone 10 PM. The best strategy, however, requires us to be there just before 10 PM, so giving ourselves time to cover the first location and then get into position for the Weird Water artifact would be best. By my timing, 5 PM should be all the time you need. Sleeping passes 7 hours at a time, and the in-game time can be found in the top right-hand corner of the PDA. Our first location is north of the Sultanks, right here on the map. Here we can first enter this building by climbing onto the roof and then dropping into the attic. Here we can find the OZK Explorer suit and some other goodies. Next, head outside and over to this building here. Once again, make your way to the roof and then simply drop inside. Here we can find another stash. Finally, head over to this building, and here on the shelf, we can find a random shotgun spawn too. Next, we want to head straight north of this location to this marker on the map. Here you'll first see this raised landmass. Essentially, what is about to happen is come 10 PM, this area will become pitch black, our flashlight will fail to work, and the only light provided will be from dancing light anomalies, which will damage us if we get too close. As soon as 10 PM starts, the artifact will spawn. Now, its spawn location is restricted to on or immediately around these rocks on the outside of this landmass. Saving and loading does change the location of the artifact, meaning you can quite simply choose this rock in the video, save before 10 PM, and then keep reloading this save until the artifact spawns at your feet. Alternatively, you can run around in the dark and try and find it, but this isn't advised as it is very hard to see without adjusting the settings. My best advice is choose either rock from this video, save a few minutes before 10 PM, and then save scum it until you have the artifact. I have read reports that apparently the artifact can spawn and clip through the terrain, thus resulting in it not being attainable. I never had this happen to myself, and after roughly 30 minutes of testing, I could quite consistently just get it to spawn at my feet with just a few attempts. Our next location is this small facility right here on the map. There is somewhat of a side quest here. First, when we arrive, there will be two separate groups that shortly initiate into a fight with one another. Both will be hostile towards ourselves regardless. Once resolving this, we will be asked to save some prisoners. The key is located inside of a stash on this roof. Along with the coupled AK magazine attachment. The only FYI here is the 3 prisoners do all have a set of sunrise armor on their inventories. Make of this what you will. Our next location for this route is just a little bit west towards this small building right here. Here we can simply head inside to find the armored bandit jacket sitting right on this shelf. Our next location is probably the most dangerous in the entirety of this zone. I'm fairly certain a Chimera spawns here regardless of time of day, so I advise coming prepared and with plenty of ammo. The reward is only an ordinary VS Vintar and a decent stash. There is a safe spot on top of these barrels just a little bit down the tracks. My best advice is to bait the Chimera over first and then get on the barrels once it's close. With any luck and some patience, it should get stuck right here. I advise we next head back to the Sultan and offload some of this gear. At this point, it is advised that anyone running the Stalker story will want to visit this location southwest of the Sultan in order to progress the main quest. Once here, you will enter this room within the facility and miss the fruit punch anomalies down here. Head towards this ladder. Simply climb it to find a 2x RNBW attachment and some other goodies. This is the only loot of note within this facility. Next, we do want to head to the Shevchenko, marked right here on the map. Whilst here, we should collect the side quest from Beard and get ready to head on out.
I think. Good to know.
Our third route is covering some of the southern section of the map. Our first location is just southeast of the Shevchenko, marked right here on the map. First, we can find an artifact located next to this corpse beside this rock. After this, head on over to the facility to resolve the side quest. Once done, our next location is a little bit east at this marker on the map. Here we can simply find an M860 Cracker shotgun inside of this ship. Next, begin to head upstairs and then eventually up this ladder to find an additional stash. Our next location is this anomaly field just north of the previous location. Here we can simply once again take out our detector and begin scanning for the artifact. Once done, our next location is this large facility just to the north. This should be the main quest marker for everyone at this point. Wardens will have visited Camp Icarus and progressed to this point, and Stalkers should have investigated both Alpha and Bravo teams to then be given this objective also. Once here, we want to first head to the back of this large building. Here, we will find this ladder, use the ladder to access the roof, and follow the path until reaching this window, where you can safely climb inside and find the sunrise suit next to this stash. Next, we can safely make our way down to the ground floor. A quick little Easter egg here, if anyone could translate this for me in the comments, then that would be much appreciated. Next, head to the back of the facility and towards this door, progress the main story, and then begin heading back to the Shevchenko.
He's right.
The main story does give us two options here. There is no difference whatsoever between these choices, other than accessibility. I believe it was done in case one of the ships were unavailable for whatever reason. Regardless, progress the main story, cash in on your side quest with Beard, unload loot and gear up for our next outing. For anyone progressing the Warden's questline, the SSP-99 Ecologist Armor will now be available for purchase within Camp Icarus. Simply make your way over and the technician will inform you of such when you're close by. For our first location of the eastern route, we want to head north of the Sultansk at this marker here on the map. Here we will find this tunnel entrance. Inside here are some planks covering this small tunnel. Head inside to find a stash containing the PSO 4x scope. Our next location is just a little further northeast towards this anomaly field right here. Here we can quite simply begin scanning for the artifact. I highly suggest starting your search from the top, as there is a chance that the artifact might not even be within the field itself. Once done here, begin heading far north towards this facility right here on the map. On the corner of the facility is this locked room. For anyone wishing to find the code, head into the large building just to the north. Begin heading upstairs until coming up against this controller. Once killing the controller, there is a collar on his inventory containing the code. For those who don't want to do this, simply copy the code off screen. Next, head around the back of this small building and make your way onto the roof using these boxes. Navigate through the anomalies on top to find an SVD Sniper Rifle. Next, we want to head around to the other end of this facility, right here on the map. Here, we can first begin heading up onto this crane. Once navigating through the anomalies, we can find a stash right here. Next, we want to make our way down into the anomaly field itself. Here, we can use our detector to locate an artifact. Next, we want to head east along this path until we reach this open pipe. Head in and immediately turn left. Follow this through to locate a scanner with an additional artifact inside. Next, head back outside the way we came in, and at the far end of the same path, we can find an additional artifact right here. Lastly, for this location, begin heading north towards these buildings at the top of the facility. Inside of this small building and behind these boxes, we can find the PSZ Guardian of Freedom suit. Once done, head south towards this marker on the map. First, head to the bottom of the docks to gain access to the ship itself. Once on board, I suggest heading over to the opposite end of the ship entirely. Begin making your way up and eventually locate this room with the Marauder Armor set and a stash inside. Next, head back to the other end of the ship, head up to the top and use the hatch to gain access to the bunker. Once inside, a Hilka Detector can be found right beside the quest objective. Our next location is on the way back to the Sultans, just here on the map. Here, we can simply find this abandoned ship, head around the back and follow this through until eventually finding this table upstairs with a GP37 rifle. Finally, we want to head back to the Sultansk, unload all of this gear, cash in on our side quest with the Sultan, and prepare to head back out. Before we do, we should speak with the bartender once again. She will have a new side quest for us. Accept this and head on over to the quest objective right here on the map. Simply climb this tower and eliminate the enemy. Here you will find a unique weapon, Flustercuck. My best advice for this side quest is to ignore trying to snipe either target. Simply descend back down the ladders and head on over to the quest objective. Here you'll be radioed that reinforcements have eliminated the targets instead. Simply head inside the building. Inside of this stash is a blueprint for the return mechanism sleeve tightener for the VS Vintar. Both corpses will have loot, but most importantly we can find an RPM LMG on the Sultan. Lastly, behind the bodies and inside of this locker is a random weapon spawn. The reason we head on over instead of trying to snipe our targets is due to the bodies disappearing through the floor and becoming unlootable. So if you don't care about the light machine gun, then proceed however you like. Once done, I do advise once again heading to either the Sultansk or Shevchenko and offloading extra gear and preparing for the final route. The final route starts from the main quest objective itself, right here on the map. Here we will run into Trapper. Simply progress through this part of the quest until being given your next quest objective. Our next location is marked right here on the map. Simply head inside this cave entrance and take an immediate left to initiate the cutscene. Once this cutscene has been resolved, a damaged Saiga Shotgun can be found on the floor, practically right at your feet. Our next location is southeast of the last, at this small shack right here. Simply head inside to find a high-capacity FORA 221 and KHAROD magazine. Next, head a little bit southwest towards this anomaly field on the map. Here, it is possible for 2 separate artifacts to spawn, so try and track them both down before wrapping up. Once done, our final location is just a little bit north at this marker right here on the map. In this facility, we can begin climbing these containers. Simply head over to this stack, and inside can be found a stash and the PSZ Universal Protection Armor. That is it for this guide, folks. That does pretty much just about cover every single piece of useful equipment within the Zaton zone. With this location ticked off, I will be able to start progressing through the rest of the zones a bit faster than I have been already. I do, of course, have a range of guides on the channel, so do feel free to stop on by. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.